Good evening. Tonight, we come to you live. No, I'm just kidding. We are live, though. It is the Skip Happens podcast. Hello, everybody. We're back.
Hello.
It's been like, what, 3 times? This is the 3rd time this week.
It's been a fun week.
I know. And a lot of big artists, a lot of new artists, a lot of talent. Mm-hmm. Well, my name's Skip Clark, and right up there is my good friend Deb Lamphere. She is the president and founder of the official country music fan club. And right over there, if you can see my finger pointing.
Oh, I haven't done this in a while.
I know. That's why I did it, because you would mess it up because the camera's backwards. See? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mikayla Lane. And Michaela, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm good. I'm excited.
We're very excited to talk to you for a couple of different reasons. Well, obviously, your music is phenomenal, and we're going to be talking about a whole lot about that. But the other thing is, if you don't mind me saying, you are 16, and you're already putting music out to be played on the radio.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. Tell us, first of all, where are you, and describe your surroundings a little bit.
Well, I am in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where we live now, and I'm actually sitting inside of my dad's office. We're downtown, and we just moved office spaces. So I decided to come in here because I needed a charger, and he has like the only charger here. So I'm on the charger, and we're on the 8th floor, so it's super cool to be in like a high rise. I really love that. And we're also building a studio. It'll be my first studio that I've actually had. We're in the process of building it. I think they finished painting today.
Wait a minute, you're talking about like your own recording studio type room?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So whenever we moved, there was a big open space that we didn't really know what to do or what to use it for. And so my dad said that we could turn it into a studio. So me and my producer that is hired on full time, he does a ton of other stuff too, which I can talk more about. But we've kind of came up with the design, and he knows a ton about like sound. So obviously that's like his job. But he came up with like how the room's going to be built, and so we're just super excited about that. They haven't been working on it super long, but we're ready to get it done. It's looking really good.
You need a light in the window. You need a light in the window that says the Mikayla Lane Recording Studio.
Yeah.
I know, right?
How cool.
So wait, this is on the same, right next to your father's office, like on the same floor and everything?
Yes, ma'am. So we're on the 8th floor. There's two companies up here. That's another company, and then it's my dad's business, and there's his office, and then a few other people that work with him, and then my mom's office, and then John's office, which is a producer that I was just telling you about, and then my office, and then the studio is just all.
Wow.
Oh, wait,
whole family affair.
I know.
And everybody in the family's got their own office.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
That's cool. And being on the 8th floor, you must have a heck of a view of the city.
We do. It's really pretty. I mean,
bet it is.
The windows are right over there. It's not amazing from his office, but Alex, which is one of the guys that works with my dad, his office is like just down there, and it's kind of like a corner office, so he has a really good view.
That is pretty awesome. How lucky are you? Tell us. Let's start from the beginning. You're only 16. How long ago did you start performing? What got you into it?
Well, I always start with where I was born. I was born in Marion, Kentucky, and I don't really remember living there because it was just a very short amount of time. And then we moved to Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and that's where I remember some of whenever I was little, but the most where I remember is whenever we moved to Stanton, Kentucky. It's a very small town in Kentucky. And my parents were actually born in Georgia, but I was born in Kentucky. And we lived in Stanton ever since I don't know how old I was, but I started singing when I was 5. And I would just sing around the house. I had my first performance when I was 5. I would just sing around the house a lot. And it would just be songs on the radio. Like, music was always a part of my day. Like, I would always want to listen to the radio whenever I was driving around with my parents, and I would sing around the house songs that were on the radio, not songs that your typical like 5-year-old would sing. And my parents noticed I was doing it all the time. and then I wasn't super awful. So they put me in lessons with this lady named Connie White, and she took lessons out of her house. So me and my mom went up to my first lesson whenever I was 5, and she had a living room with a couch and a piano, and she sat at the piano, and we had just gotten there. We were kind of talking, getting to know her and stuff, and then she starts telling me that we're gonna warm up and like, do a few different things that a normal voice coach would do. And my mom was sitting on the couch in the living room, and she was at the piano, and I was standing. There was like an open space in the living room. I was standing there, and she was talking to me and all this stuff, and I was really nervous. And usually I wasn't really nervous as a kid. I was like very outgoing and like and I was always talking to people and wasn't really nervous to do anything. But I was really nervous. I was really nervous now. So I wouldn't sing. She kept telling me to sing and stuff and trying to get me to do it, and I just wouldn't do it. Like, I refused. And so finally I agreed to sing if I got to sit in a chair in the living room with a blanket over my entire body. So, so that's how my first voice lesson went. I finally sang for her when I was completely covered up. And then my few after that, I finally warmed up to her, and I would take it off, and it'd be just like a normal lesson. But that's a very that's imprinted into my mind pretty well, because I just think that's so funny, like that I was like that, and how far I've come to different performances now. It's just crazy to think back. But I moved to Oklahoma. My dad's in the oil and gas business. So Oklahoma is obviously one of the largest places for that. And so we moved here whenever I was 10. And I still love to sing. It was something that I still wanted to do. And I started taking lessons at Pressler Music. And it was a lady who owned that. She was on The Voice. And she started a music school coming off of The Voice because she wanted to help kids like love music and learn how to do it well and that sort of thing. So I started taking lessons there. And let's see, I met John whenever I was 11, and he was a teacher there. He was a teacher there at Pressler Music, and I started out with him as my guitar teacher. And I would go to him like maybe once or twice a week, and it was just super easy to work with him. Like, we got along really well, and it was really fun every time. It wasn't boring, because I know like sometimes taking like instrument lessons can be very boring if you don't have the right person. It was never like that. So I just kept taking lessons, and then it kind of grew into more of like a relationship where I would want to take music lessons and like voice lessons, and I would just kind of want to grow. And he got more on board with what I wanted to do, because I explained that this is what I like really wanted to do, and I really wanted to try at it. And my parents were always behind me. So they were like, yeah, like whatever, we'll help you out. And he actually put together a band of a bunch of guys, Tulsa guys he knew that were really great whenever I was 13. So at 13, I had my own band, and we were doing our own gigs. And whether that be bars downtown, it was mostly kind of like bar gigs, like your typical, whenever you think of a gig, like it was a gig. And those are really fun. I would do some festivals around here, like Mayfest is a big festival here. We did Mayfest, and just those sort of venues. And then it kind of grew into more. So whenever I was 13, I was still 13 at the time, but whenever I was 13, I got my first gig at Old Red in Tishomingo, which I don't know if y'all have heard of the Old Red chain.
Yes.
But it's Blake Shelton's restaurant and kind of live music venue. And they had a location in Tishomingo, Oklahoma, which is about 3 hours from my house. And they had at the time, they were just a restaurant venue. Like, they would only have acoustic gigs in their restaurant on this stage in the back. So it was kind of like your typical restaurant music, like you're the background music while people eat. And that was my first. I was like super excited for that. But it was just an acoustic gig. So it was just me and John that would go out there for those. And I did those for about a year. And then I think whenever I was either 14 or 15, I think I was 14 or 15. I'm not really sure which one. They added on a new part to the Old Red in Tishomingo called the Dog House. and that is where they have full band, and it's more of like a concert venue just right next to it. And they had our band out for that, and that was so fun. I've obviously loved that so much more than just the acoustic, which it's super cool to see growth still. Like, I was super excited for the acoustic at the time, but once I got to do that band show, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so fun. So I did those for a while, and then the manager, Charles at Old Red Tishomingo, he really liked what we did, and he thought we were pretty good. So he contacted I think she might be the manager. I'm not exactly sure, but he contacted Old Red Nashville, and I got my first gig there when I was 14, playing full band at Old Red Nashville. And that was super fun. And they just kept having me back whenever I was in town or when I could make it. And they were long shows. Like, they would really tire me out. They'd be like 3-hour shows. And that was a lot. That was a lot for me. That's a lot for anyone who's an artist, but it was especially a lot for me because I was so young, and it was just sort of intimidating. But I kept doing those all the time as much as I could, and those were my bigger shows at that time. And then last year, I think I was 15. Last year, I opened for, I don't know if y'all have heard of Kane's Ballroom. It's in Tulsa, and it's like a historic dance hall concert.
Oh, okay.
There's like tons of people who played there, and that's like, if you're a Tulsa musician, like that's one of your main goals. Like, you want to play there.
It's to be on that stage. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And so at the time, we were working with a guy who had a relationship with a guy named John Wolfe, and he's kind of like a Texas red dirt country guy, and he was playing at Kane's Ballroom, and I got to open up for him, and that was like the epitome. I was like, oh my gosh, like that was the coolest thing I've ever done. So that's kind of where I am now. I'm still playing both of the Old Reds. I'm still doing gigs. I'm going to Nashville about every 3 weeks. But I was
gonna ask how often you get to Nashville.
Yes, sir. We try to go to Nashville every 3 weeks. We got a townhouse there actually on 18th on Music Row. And it's so much better going and staying there than staying at like a hotel or something. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
You've had a lot going on in your young life.
Yeah,
here.
I know. Just like, wow, right? I got tired out listening to you.
I'm like, you got to be exhausted. Yeah.
But I don't get tired out listening to this. Listen.
She'll leave you in a cloud of dust, having cried on the day you fell.
That's that young lady right there that we're talking to. Listen to this. Wow.
Well, he walked down by the river. They were baptized as sinners. His eyes met with the preacher, so you walked the other way. Further down the creek bed, he saw a little
It's
redhead.
just,
She was
I don't know. What's the right word? It's awesome. And like I said before, at your age, to put out a voice, to put out this sound.
He can't recall a thing. Jezebel.
Who's that song?
Oh my God, I love that. I absolutely love it.
When did that song come out? How long ago?
So that was on the Rooftop Knight EP. That was the first piece of music that I've ever put out professionally. I recorded that in Nashville with Billy Decker, and that was my first EP I'd ever put out. I was 14 whenever that was put out.
So how did you feel doing something like that at that age?
Oh, I thought it was awesome. I'd never recorded in Nashville. All my stuff up until then had been recording out of Tulsa, and that's what I do still. That's the only thing I'd recorded in Nashville. But I thought it was super cool, like being that age, being able to go in a studio and I'd say seeing the process was the coolest thing. And not even just like the mixing and the producing process, but just seeing those talented musicians who'd played on literally everyone's record come in there and hear the song one time, and they already had the chord chart written in like 5 seconds, and they all knew exactly how to do it. And it took them talent. Literally, it was insane.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know how they do that. And you're not the only one that has told us that you know, these musicians come in, they give it a quick listen, and they go, okay, I got it. Let's do this. And it's like, are you kidding me?
I know, it's the craziest thing. And the director will be like, do that thing you did on so-and-so's record that you're known for, and then he'll do it. And it's like, how does that literally match with every song? Like, it's crazy.
They know. So was it Leanne Rimes Skip, that started at like 13 or 14 years old? Like
Well,
that
yes,
really started her recording career and
really
moving
young.
forward.
Yeah.
So you're right on that path.
Mhm.
So that's
And,
awesome.
Hopefully I'll be that successful.
well, you're off to a great
Sure.
start.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift started like in her teens, mid-teens. So, girl, you're right. You're right there. You're doing it. You know what? You say you're in Tulsa. Do you ever see like James Robert Webb anywhere or anything? He's a good friend of ours.
Yeah, I see. Let's see. I did actually a little show with James Robert Webb. At the Hunt Club, actually, he put together kind of like a writer's round style show at the Hunt Club, and me, Gracie Schreiber, and Braden Jameson, they're all Oklahoma people, and they're good friends of mine. We all played for his benefit, and then he headlined, and we played before him. But I know him. Yes, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, Dr. Webb. He is. And who would have thought? Here's the guy, he's putting music out that's getting played on the radio, and
I know.
And he's a doctor. These patients every day. What's do you get a chance to sit down and write it all? Do you write your own stuff? And if so, how does that creative process work with you?
So to be honest, for me, the songwriting process is something I don't love per se. Like whenever I get in the room to write a song with somebody, I never write alone. I always write with someone, and that person is usually John, who y'all have heard about already. I usually write with him, but whenever I'm in the room writing with someone, I never really think about, this sounds bad, but I'm never really paying attention to the lyrics or like what's going on right then. I'm always thinking about the production, like what sound could go here, how is this going to feel, like what instruments do I want, and that sort of thing. I'm never the one in the room to write the lyrics. Sometimes I'll be the one in the room to come up with the melody. But I would say with the Rooftop Knight EP, those songs were pitched to me since it was my first project. I didn't write on any of those, but Superman, Drive, those two songs, those are my most recent singles. Drive is my most recent single, but Superman was the one before that. I wrote those two with John. So I put a big part in Superman, especially. But both of those songs I wrote on, and then all of these new ones coming out, my EP that's coming out in September, I wrote on all of those with John as well.
Oh wow, that's excellent.
But I never like sit down and force myself to write. I'm always like finding a way to get out of it. I'm like, I don't really want.
Well, it's your strength is the other part of it, and you have to have that in order for the song to work anyway. So,
but whenever somebody like finishes a song, my favorite thing is to just start thinking, like start listening to songs, like trying to see what I want to pull from that to just make it my own. And I think that's what I really, and my strength is, like you said.
Don't you love that, Skip, how these words could just come together and be in someone's head? Like they'll be jumbled in our head, but they're in, like in her head, and she's got the music going. And how she wants things and what instruments, and it all just comes out and it's born.
There it is.
Like,
done.
It's nothing. You're done.
She's got a young mind. I've got an old one, so mine doesn't work as fast.
Same here.
But it's amazing what you can do. How did the pandemic affect you with what you're doing, music wise?
I mean, honestly, it was a blessing and a curse. It really helped. I would say the pandemic really shined a light on smaller artists, because whenever they have these massive tours going on, like a Blake Shelton tour, Miranda Lambert tour, Cody Johnson tour, Morgan Wallen, like all these tours kill small artists trying to do their own thing. But COVID like killed them. Like they were done for COVID. They couldn't do anything except record and put out music, and their only hope was streaming and stuff. But for smaller artists, we could play a small venue and we would get more attention because people wanted to come out. People wanted to hear something. So people would come out to hear the smaller artists. And I feel like it really, my dad says this a lot, it like balanced the playing field, I would say. And
I get it.
And it helped a lot in that aspect, but also if I'm trying to get a bigger venue, it wouldn't work. Like I was the last show at Old Red Nashville before it shut down.
Oh, wow.
So that was definitely a gig that I couldn't play while COVID was going on. So it did limit the amount of shows I had, but it also sort of helped because it helped me have time to grow my social media. It gave me time to write more music. It gave me time to think about what I want to do next. It gave me time to meet people. It kind of settled it down from all like the busyness of touring and other people like being super competitive, and it gave smaller artists time to work up and to build themselves to whenever everything opens back up.
And would you say social media is the most important thing you do nowadays? You know, I mean, is that how you connect with your fans and future fans? I mean, getting your music on social media and all those different platforms. I work in radio, but I see the numbers. Deb is a number person. We see the numbers. We see the views that these artists are getting. I mean, more than ever before.
Well, it's funny because every time we meet with someone new, like we as in my team and everybody, whenever we meet with someone new, they always bring up, like if we're trying to book somewhere, they're like, how many followers you got on Instagram, how many streams you got on Spotify, and all this stuff. And it's just so frustrating because if they don't give you a shot at their venue, how are you supposed to build followers?
Gain more followers. Yeah,
that's like the only way, and that's all they always say is just build your Instagram. And I'm like, it's difficult to just build your Instagram.
Right.
You have to have a shout out from someone with 7 million followers. You can't just build your Instagram. Like it's very frustrating. But that was my only light source. Okay, there we go. But I definitely hear from people that social media is the most important thing, but it's just frustrating because whenever they say that, they don't help you out on that. And that's not everyone. Like obviously people are going to help you. But that's just been my experience. And the most recent thing that I've started doing is TikTok, because I've seen how easy it is for someone to get a ton of followers on TikTok. Like you can just have one video blow up and there you have like 30,000 new followers on TikTok and you can link your Instagram. That gives you a bunch of new Instagram followers. But I have noticed, and I'm on TikTok a lot, I have noticed that it's a very good app to break new artists and to shine light on new songs that are coming out, because people will play a clip and they're like, if you're blah, 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 I wrote this song for you. It's coming out in 5 days, pre-save, and the link in my bio. And it'll go, and then people will follow that person to remember when it comes out. And it's just kind of like a chain effect. So I would say social media has definitely became the most important thing, but it's just frustrating because social media is such a commitment and it's such a time consuming deal. And it's confusing because there's all these algorithms and you can't, whenever someone says get more followers, you can't just get them. Like if it's just,
there's a certain time that a post should go out where you can maximize how many people are viewing it and when they're going to share it, and there's a whole strategy behind social media.
I know, like now if you want to hire a management team, you have like 3 people assigned to your social media just for social media. It's crazy.
Right.
I know.
What is your favorite part about this line of work, about what you do? What is your favorite part?
I would definitely say playing live shows, the aspect of meeting new people, because I really love making connections with new people. Meeting new people is probably one of my it definitely is my favorite thing about this, but it's probably one of my most favorite things, because like there will be people that I'll open for someone who came off The Voice at Old Red Tish, and there will be people in there who's like, I came all the way from Texas to see you, and it's like, what the heck? It's really cool to meet new people and connect with them, because then that can like gain you a fan for life, and they'll always be there. Like social media is cool and all, like you can DM people or whatever, but you can't really like meet the person, and that's what I really love about live music and like playing live venues, is because you can do that.
Are you the only musician in your family?
I am. So lots of people are like, where did you get your music abilities from? And my dad always likes to take credit because he has a very deep voice. And my dad's always like, oh, it's definitely from me. Like, I'm the reason and all this stuff. And it's totally not. Like, he'll tell you he like sang choir in church or whatever, but no. And my mom is completely just, I think she might even be tone deaf. I think she's actually watching right now. I think both of them are watching. But I'm just being honest.
Yeah. Well, if we see the door open up behind you here in a minute, we know what's going on. But no, I'm just kidding. You are very talented, and it sounds like you have a lot of support from your family, and that is so important to have that support, especially at your age. Do your parents go to the shows? Oh, mom is there. Yes, we hear you.
Oh my gosh. Is this on like Facebook Live?
Yes, it's on Facebook Live, and she's chiming in right now. But that's, to see that support from your parents is just the best thing anybody could ask for.
It is, because I see people like trying to do music and stuff, and they just have no one behind them. And I don't want to say it's impossible to do this and have no one behind you, but it sort of is. Like you have to have people behind you. And having a good team is super important, and I definitely have that. So that's another reason why all of this has happened for me, and in my age and for the little amount of time that I've been doing this is definitely having the team behind me. But yeah, I don't think either my parents have missed a single one of my shows.
That's awesome.
So they travel with you all the time wherever you go.
Yes, ma'am. And like if my dad has to be somewhere, and like this one of these last few trips in Nashville, me and my mom drove to Tennessee, and he had to go to Ohio to pick up this truck for his company, and he met us in Tennessee for the day of my show, and then he drove back home to drop off the truck.
How cool.
It sounds like really my family. How far of a drive is it from Tulsa to?
Well, if it's just me and my mom, it's about 8.5, 9 hours. But if we're with my dad, I think last time we were with dad, and it took us about 11 or 12 hours. Because he likes to stop.
Not me.
Struggle.
I know where I need to go, and I'm driving till I get there.
Yeah, that's the way me and mom are. Like sometimes I like driving with her because it's a very short trip, but sometimes if I gotta go to the bathroom, I get one chance, and that's all I get.
Well, I know that feeling. My wife, we drive to the Outer Banks every year for vacation, and we'll be on the road a few hours. Then it's like I need to stop. I'm like, we're not stopping. We're going. No, I need to stop. I said, well, you shouldn't have had that iced tea before we left the house. But no, I know how that goes.
What she says.
Yeah, exactly. The support of the family is so important. I love hearing that. But with this pandemic, and of course, you weren't in school, I would presume, or assume.
We actually were in school.
Really?
Yes, okay. Sir. We were out for a little bit, but we were one of the first schools in Oklahoma to go back. I mean, they made us wear a mask and everything, but we were one of the first ones to go back, and we stayed pretty much the whole time.
Were you happy to go back, or did you prefer to be home, school-wise, and learning?
Like the learning aspect of it?
Yeah.
The learning aspect of it, I definitely preferred to be home.
Really?
But because, it was way easier, but I also didn't actually learn anything because, I was just kind of like, eh. But like in school, I would actually learn, but out of school, it was way easier. So I definitely prefer out of school.
Mom and dad are watching. That's all I'm saying.
Trust me, they know. I exposed all of my cheating hacks the other night, so. That they know.
The other night. We missed a good one.
With you being a musician and doing what you're doing in school, do they ask you to, hey, Michaela, will you sing the national anthem, or will you do this, or will you do that? Do you ever get that?
Well, so I went to a private school.
Oh, okay.
And there was one lady who wanted me to do it, and I'm the type of person where I would sing in front of a crowd of people I don't know all day long. But if there's like 5 people in there that I like know really well, it's like, no. And so at school, especially being there, people my age, it's a very different type of vibe. So I would always be like, nah, like I ain't doing that, So
Well, you're
amazing.
amongst your own peers, and
Right.
people are
Definitely.
looking at you differently. So
It's definitely nerve-wracking because there's always those
Mhm.
people who are like, I don't know if it's out of jealousy or whatever, but there's always those
Right.
people that are like, you know,
Mhm.
like, I'll pass.
You know, but it's so true. And we hear this from a lot of different artists as well. You're right. You can get up on stage. If you don't know a single person in that room, it doesn't bother you. You just go
Mhm.
out there, you kick butt, you do your show. It sounds great. But if there's a lot of people there that you know, it's
It's
like,
different.
Mhm.
okay, I can't screw up because
I was
I'll
gonna say, can't screw up.
no,
You
you'll never
get-
hear the end of it.
I
And
know.
especially at your age, that your friends or whatever, I imagine they wouldn't ever let you live it down. So I totally get that. Totally get
Mhm.
that. So where do you see yourself in about 5 years?
Well,
That puts you about what? All right, so yeah, 21.
21.
puts me at 21. Well, that's a good
College?
question. I never really think. Well, yeah. So college is definitely something that I've had to think about. And honestly, I'm not too good at like school. I love the social aspect of it, but I'm not a big school person. So college is always, in my mind, it's just another 4 years of this, and it's always just such a turnoff. It's like absolutely not. But whenever I think about it a little bit differently, it does seem very important because like I've always thought about going to Belmont.
Mhm.
And like I said, those two friends, Gracie Schreiber and Braden Jameson from Tulsa, they go to Belmont and they've showed me around a little bit. And Belmont's really pretty and it's super close to where our townhouse is in Nashville. So that's definitely a school that I could probably check out. But honestly, the dream is to get way too busy to have to go to college. Like busy touring or busy pretty much to not go to college. That's what I'm really hoping for. But honestly, I don't really know. I'm a lot of people ask like if I want to stay an independent or if I want to sign to a record label. And it's kind of in between because I've heard so much stuff that happens if you're signed to a record label that just doesn't appeal to me at all. But then being an independent artist, it's all on you. Like you are
a lot of work.
your
It's a
own
lot of work.
investor. Yeah, like you are the money source. You are your own promoter. You are the brand and you have to do everything for yourself, which we're doing now and it's going great. But if I keep growing, then it's going to get harder and harder. So I don't really know if there was like a middle or a medium in between those two. That would definitely be what I want to go for.
I think it'll come down to though, if you decided to seek being represented by a label, it's going to come down to what you negotiate with them. Because
That's true.
we've heard both sides of the story, and there are a lot of successful stories, as you know, with people on labels. We have heard some bad stories, right, Skip? And they prefer to be independent, but I think it really comes down to when the time comes that if you found someone you're interested in, and I'm sure your parents will know that, it's what your terms are going to be, what's going to make you happy, because this is your career.
Right.
And you want to be happy waking up every day knowing you made a good decision.
Right.
So, but there's a lot of pluses too. Like you said, you have a whole team of people behind you and you're not doing everything. So
there's definitely pros and cons to both.
Yeah,
that you have
definitely.
To think about.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And they like to front you a lot of money, but you got to pay it back.
Yeah.
That's it's the scary thought about it. But then again, it can work for you as well.
It can work. I know.
Do you have or you're going to release a single to radio, you said, when's the next song coming out? Or
13th, right?
August 13th.
Is that, you said that's the song that's going to be released to radio?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
Okay. And do you have somebody promoting it for you, or are you going to be doing it?
No, sir. We have somebody who's going to be promoting it for us. We're working with a lady named Kat and her team, and they're super great. We're going to go through 1 RPM. So.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we love Kat. Absolutely.
She's the best.
Yeah. Yeah, she sends a lot of artists our way for the podcast, and she's a wonderful woman. Wonderful woman.
She's great. Really hard worker too.
Cool. You make sure that they get a hold of me when that song comes out, because
I will.
or you probably got my contact info, and I know they put my cell phone number in with the email just in case there are any technical issues. But you can always text me and say, Skip, the song is out.
It's out.
I don't know if,
Listen to it.
yeah, are they going to put it on Play MPE or CDX, or don't you know?
It's streaming services. That's who we're
Okay.
using.
Okay. Very, very cool. And what is the name of the single? Tell us about it.
Well, I will tell you about it. It's probably, this is the most excited I've been about. Oh my gosh, this is the most excited I've been about a project in a while. It's called Wildlight the Wind, and we just finished shooting the music video yesterday. Actually, we did it on a ranch right next to my house.
Cool.
And it's kind of I don't know if y'all have heard of either Jenna Paulette or Ian Munsick. I don't know if y'all have heard of either of those two, but they're sort of fresh on the music scene, but they're not your typical Nashville country, mainstream country sound. Like Ian Munsick, how should I describe him? He definitely has his own sound, and that's what I think is super cool about him. And that's what I try to do with this music. It's completely different from the other stuff that y'all heard. Like, it's totally, like, it is night and day. Like, it is totally different. And if you listen to any of their stuff and then you listen to this EP, you will see how they were some of my influences for this record. They, Ian Munsick, I think what's super cool about him is he's either from Wyoming or Montana. I'm not sure which one, but his music very much sounds like, if you think of Wyoming or Montana, it sounds like what you would think of, if that makes sense. It's very mountain music, if that makes sense.
It does. It does.
You have to check it out.
He's got a bunch. You really should. He's great. He and his fashion, his style, it's all just on point. It's great. And he seems like a super cool guy too. And then Jenna Paulette, her sound is very, she brings like the lyrics are more Western, and she has a ton of steel guitar, electric guitar, and those are literally my favorite things to have in songs. Ian has fiddle. I think he might have harmonica. Yeah, he's got fiddle, harmonica. I don't have any harmonica in my stuff, but I've got fiddle, steel, electric guitar, just all this stuff. And Jenna's has a lot of that, but it also has like the synthetic drums, the more of the modern sound, which is what Nashville's leaning toward at the moment. So I kind of combined that, and that's kind of what my new stuff sounds like. It's very Wild Like the Wind it's your typical cowboy riding away type of song. I actually have partnered with a rodeo, the youth's largest rodeo, the largest youth rodeo in the U.S. called Vegas Toughest.
Cool. And
I partnered with them this past year, and I've been performing at their locations that they stop throughout the country that I'm close-ish to, that we can travel to. And that influenced the song a lot because, you know, if you're in the rodeo, you're always, or most of the time, you're gone pretty much all the time. And I just imagine, like, what is the life of, like, if there's this dude over here that's a calf roper, he's probably gone all the time. What's his wife doing at home, like, this lonely, like, if she can't come all the time, she's probably, like, lonely and that sort of thing. So that's kind of what the idea came from. And me and John worked on this song together, and he produced it and everything. And I told him, I don't really know how this makes sense, but it makes sense to us. I told him, I was like, I want this song to feel lonely and dry and like sort of dark outside. Like I want it to be like dusk, sort of. And he was like, all right. And he put together something, and then we worked on it from there. So that's kind of how Wild Like the Wind came about. Wow. But yeah, I'm just so excited to put it out. It's been done for a while, and I just, every time I listen to it, it feels like everyone has already heard it because I've heard it so many times, and I'm just like, let's get it out. So it's coming out very soon, and I'm super excited.
So for you, it's like the next step. You've been doing this, and now it's the next step. You're going to hit radio with this.
I hope so. This song and this EP that's coming out in September is definitely what I feel most connected to and what I'm most excited about, because it is my new sound, and it's what I've been trying to find for a while. And I think, because at my age, I change stuff like on a whim. Like one day this will be my favorite thing, and then the next day it's totally different. And that was how it was with my older stuff. I was like, I love this, and now I'll listen back and I'm like, how did I ever like this? And with this, I feel like I've kind of fell into a consistent thing, and I feel like this is going to be my sound from here on out. And I think that's super exciting, because trying to find my sound is definitely confusing and difficult, but once you find it, it's so relieving. And I think I have done that with these songs, and I just want everyone to to finally understand, like, hear this and they're like, oh yeah, that's Mikayla Lane's song. Like if they hear something else, they'll be like, that sounds like something, you know. And I just think that's really important, and I think that's what I found with these songs. So I'm really excited to get them out.
Is there slide and fiddle?
Yes, sir.
Oh my God, it's gonna be awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one of the most important things too, because I've heard from a bunch of different people that country music is kind of turning back to that, which I'm super excited for that. I've noticed, like, it's weird because my merch has totally changed too, and we're gonna launch a whole new merch with this release. And I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but surprise.
Surprise. No, that's good.
Mom's sitting on her couch going, I told her not to mention that. No.
Totally.
Listen, we won't tell anyone, right, Skip?
No, nobody's going to know. We promise nobody will know. But go ahead, Michaela. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's kind of just taking a whole new turn, and I've noticed that, like, in different stores that I like to go in, everything's turning into more vintage feel. It's really weird, actually, because the timing is just so perfect. And I think that's super great too, because, like, not a better time to do this. So it's all going very well for this.
So were you able to take in any of the Garth shows in your area?
I wasn't. I hear from my parents and John and everyone who's been able to go that he's just the most amazing performer. I'd love to go see him, but I haven't been able to.
Wow. I'm surprised.
I met him, though.
Yeah?
I've met him. I met him at NSAI induction in Nashville. He's just walking around. He's one of the most genuine guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Have you been able to take in the country radio seminar at all?
No, sir. I think I'm going this next year, though. I think I'm going to try to perform there, actually.
Good idea.
Nice.
Good idea.
Very nice.
I've been doing it for over 20 years. Deb's been coming along, and if you're an artist, there's no better way to meet radio people, shake hands, kiss babies, as they would say, and just, you know, make that connection, because you never know. And if you can perform, if you get a suite, or, you know, maybe do a showcase somewhere, it's getting in front of programmers is big.
Right. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. It takes one big programmer to go, wow, she's good. And, you know, they tell somebody.
Record label people there too.
Yeah. Tons. Yeah. Lots of record label people. There's no doubt. Anybody that's anybody in what you do or what we do, they're there. It's a huge event.
I'm excited. I think my mom went last year, but I wasn't able to go. So this year I'm at least gonna go. Hopefully I can perform, but I'm at least gonna go and just try to meet as many people as I can.
Yeah, I know it was virtual last year, but the year before last year.
Oh yeah, it was the year before.
Yeah, the year because it was virtual. Deb did the virtual thing. I was not able to, but you know, it's the first time I hadn't gone in a long time, and I felt like I was missing something.
I know. You do.
February, it's a big part. And, you know, we love meeting the new artists. We love chatting with them. We love finding out about them, just like we're doing this. And this goes back to the pandemic, because we weren't doing this before. This is it's a blessing. We get to meet you. We get to find out about you and your music. Before this, we would have to wait for the radio tour. Like, you'd be out hitting radio stations. And when they come to this area, then, you know, I'd bring them over. We do the podcast in person to get wings and soda and beer and all that. And, oops, I didn't say beer, did I? No.
Well,
pizza and wings and soda. Yep. Pizza, wings, and lemonade.
There you go.
Lemonade.
But no, you know, we would do it in person, but at least we're able to do this. And it's like a new way of doing things. Do I want it always to be like this? Not completely. I still need that interaction with others,
right?
You know, but if that doesn't work, then we do have this. So,
right.
Wow, this is amazing. If you could, it's a question we ask everybody. If you could have a conversation with any artist in the world, male, female, dead or alive, just to kind of pick their brain a little bit, who would that be?
Oh my gosh.
I know who you're going to say, but go ahead.
I've never thought about that. I'm trying to think. Do I even know? I don't even know.
You stumped her. This will be a good question.
This is a good question. I'd never thought about this.
Mhm.
How about Dolly Parton?
She'd be a good one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Most of the women that we talk to, the ladies that we chat with, they'll go Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I would say either Dolly Parton or George Strait or Cody Johnson, just because I think it's really cool how they came from like the rodeo side of things, and then they added music and they combined the two. I think that's so awesome. Cody Johnson, actually, I don't know if y'all have seen, he has that movie coming out from I don't know what it's called, but I'm excited to watch it because I've always wondered how he went from that to singing. I know it was something with the Houston Rodeo. He performed, and then is that right?
Yes, you are absolutely correct. And he also had is it Deer Rodeo?
He did.
Yes.
With Reba.
Yes.
And Reba would be another good one too. If you're looking.
She would. For some reason, I don't know why this is, but for some reason, I always wonder more, like, I don't know why this is with me. For some reason, I consume, and my dad has said this to me before, like, because of my playlist, I always consume more male artist music, and I don't know why that is. I do not know why that is, because I know like I'm obviously not a male, I'm not gonna relate to them, but like I don't know why. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, Dolly would be a cool one too. She's funny.
Are you hardcore country when it comes to music, or do you listen to a lot of today's music as well? You know, when I talk about hip hop, I talk about you know, some of the pop that's out there, or are you strictly like, I just love country, that's all I'm going to listen to?
It would probably just be country. I don't listen to really the only reason I would know like top hits is literally from TikTok, because that's all the sounds are. But I don't listen to anything else, honestly.
That's pretty rare for a girl your age, actually. Are all of your friends in your circle country fans, or are they?
No, ma'am. Well, I have one friend that's just like me in that aspect. Her name's Macy, but my other friends, definitely not at all. Definitely not at all. There's some that literally hate country, and I'm like, how? But you know.
And how do they feel about your career being in country, knowing that they don't like country? Do they ever kind of tease you about that?
I mean, they don't, but I don't really care, honestly. Like, like
good way to be.
I just don't really care, because I know that, like, obviously, whenever you think of top hits, it's always hip hop, pop, like R&B, like all that kind of stuff, which I always think is interesting. Like, I was looking at the top hits playlist a few months ago, and literally the only person on there that was country was Morgan Wallen, and I was like, that is so sad. Like. But you know, it's whatever. I mean, I don't care, because country is kind of its own thing anyways, and I think it's cool how they're not really influenced by other. I mean, obviously some of the proclaimed country artists are influenced by that, but I think that the actual country genre and the people who are actually country artists, I think it's its own thing, and I think that's really cool.
Have you been able to visit your local radio station at all? You know, go in there. I mean, do they know who you are, or pretty soon they're going to, if they don't know, but they will?
No, sir. I mean, I'd say the one that I listen to the most here is 98.5. It's KVOO. Yep. And I've never been there. I haven't done a lot with radio, honestly. I've mostly heard that it's important to get on editorial Spotify playlists, whether it's like New Boots, Texas Country Today, or Nashville Finds, or I don't know.
And also the Sirius XM is amazing for exposing new artists. If you listen to the Highway, the Highway Find. I mean, I listened, and then I'm not going to say, I don't want anybody to listen to that, and I'm not going to, but nobody's listening, right? Nobody's watching. But I do listen to that quite often, and I do that because it exposes me to a new artist. I'm going, and I can tell you, before Cole Swindell was just starting out, I think it was Chillin' It. I heard that as a Highway Find, and I went, that's a smash. When I got to the radio station, I started playing it before anybody else, and you know, it's just because I liked it, and I said that's going to be a big hit. So it's very important to get involved. I'm not really sure what the process is about getting on satellite radio or being a Highway Find. But if somehow you could work that would be huge.
That would be, and that's something that has been in the back of my mind for a while. I've talked to my mom about it a little bit, but being a highway find would just be awesome, because sometimes they even do like a little interview with the person, or like a little talking with them before the song plays, and then a little get to know you thing. So it's really cool. I would love that opportunity. I just don't know how you do it. Like you said, I have no idea.
It'll happen. It'll happen. And for those, and for your friends that don't listen to country and they don't want anything to do with it, when you're on that big stage and they happen to be walking by, just give them a little wave and say,
they're going to love country.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's Michaela. Yeah. Hello. Michaela.
Country now? No, you don't.
You know what? Although what we have found out, I see your mom chimed in, they don't have local programming. You know what? That's probably a good point, because a lot of radio stations have pretty much consolidated. I know we're still locally owned and operated here in the Q's, and we kind of do our own thing, which we're doing very well at.
I think that's always great. I always think it's kind of sad how like there's these local radio stations and they never recognize their local life. You know?
No, we definitely give them recognition on the Wolf. So now I forgot what I was going to say. But so if somebody goes to MikaylaMusic.com, what are they going to find on your website right now?
Well, you know, I just got a new website, so I honestly couldn't tell you. I would, you know, you can find my upcoming shows. You can find some merch. You can find me on Bands in Town to follow me and find all my shows coming up. I think my Instagram is linked. My Spotify is linked. You can find my YouTube on my website. It's all under MikaylaLaneMusic.com. My Instagram is Mikayla Lane Music. YouTube, Mikayla Lane Music. It's basically all Mikayla Lane Music.
Awesome. You know, very excited. Oh, go ahead, Debbie. You're going to say something?
No, this was like totally off topic, but where does Blake Shelton live in relation to where you are? Is he in Tulsa or is he somewhere else?
No, ma'am. He lives in Tishomingo. He doesn't really live there. He might live, I mean, he's got probably a bunch of different houses, but I don't know where he actually like mostly lives, but he's got a big ranch in Tishomingo that's really close to Old Red, because Tishomingo's tiny. Like that town is literally so small. But he's there quite a bit, and that's where he was born. So he's about 3 hours from me.
He's a cool guy.
When you get to perform at Old Red there, has he ever popped in?
He hasn't. It always makes me so mad because I look at Instagram and literally the day after or the weekend after I play, he's like, come into Tish to blah blah blah. And he's there, and I'm like, literally every single time. I'm like, if this dude was here when I was performing, I would have the entire freaking town in there. Like,
that's right. It'll match up.
Exactly. Michaela, you're awesome. You're all talent. You definitely got what it takes. And if you're like this at this age, I can't even imagine how good you're going to be when we get to, 5-10 years down the road. And
thank you so much.
And we hope to see you on that big stage.
Yes, sir. Me too.
When is the next time you're performing at Old Red in Nashville?
In Nashville, September 9th.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. September 9th.
See, Deb's there Deb is there every other day, pretty much.
I'll try to catch a show. That's why I always like to know these things.
I'll also be playing September 8th, if you know where the local is.
Oh yeah, the local. Yeah. Oh yeah, we've been there. Yeah.
We'll be doing a full band show. I think it's about an hour. We'll be doing a full band show September 8th at the local, and then September 9th at Old Red. And it's going to be so much fun because the band is just amazing, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay. If I'm in town that weekend, and I very well could be. Sometimes I don't know until a week to 2 weeks before if I'm going to be there, but
well, that would be awesome. And it'll be posted on my social media too. So if anybody forgets or something, it'll be there. So
I'm like, Deb, where are you? Nashville. Deb, what are you doing in that? No, I don't know. Deb, I'll be home for a day, then I gotta go back. All right. Yeah. All right. It's not an overnight
I know what.
thing.
A week ago, 2 weeks ago, I did the podcast from there. But I got to sit outside. It was so nice and quiet. And it was just very still. It was it was really good. Hearing about tons of noise going on.
Have you ever well, no, you said you got your family business there, but I was going to say, to relocate to Nashville, Have you thought about that at all? Probably not at your age, I would assume. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely crossed my mind. Like, it would be so much easier if we lived there to do all of this. But we just moved offices and we're just starting to build this studio. So it would literally suck if we were here and then like next year my dad's like, we're moving to Nashville. Like, I would be like, no. But also I have all my friends here, and I'm doing online school this semester just because I'm going to be so busy with the release at the beginning of the year, or at the beginning of the school year. So I don't think it'd be a massive change because we already know people there. But I've definitely thought about after high school. But I'm really bad at making decisions like that, so I don't really know what I'll end up doing.
Nothing to worry about right now. Yeah, I got lots of time. Plus, like you said, the building, the studio. You're so lucky. That's awesome. That is the best. Mikayla Lane, you've been great. Thank you for chatting with us tonight, telling us about your music, what's going on. We look forward to having hearing the new release coming out August 13th. And Deb with the Country Music Fan Club, they do what they call a New Music Friday. So,
oh yes, that's awesome.
We'll put that out for you.
Thank you.
Is that on a Friday the 13th? I hope not. Isn't that a Friday the 13th?
It is. It's bad.
Oh, okay. No.
Well, actually, it's good luck now, I think.
Whenever we decided to put it out, I was like, really? On Friday the 13th? I don't know if it's going to go well or not, but
it's going to go great.
It will. But we'll be sure to list you on our New Music Friday. It introduces, we love introducing new artists and their music to all of the viewers out there. So it gives them some new talent to hear.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And we urge our viewers and our listeners to make sure you check her out at MikaylaLaneMusic.com. Just do the search on YouTube. You're going to see the videos. You're going to hear the great music. And of course, we found out a lot about her right here tonight. So it's kind of cool. Mikayla, you've been great. We're going to sign off, and but you stay right on there for a minute, and we'll talk off, with the cameras off. So
all right. Thank you.
Mikayla Lane, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.